Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. Today I'm going to tell you all about what I've seen firsthand in the mountains of Alishan during this spring harvests. And there's a lot of things to talk about because I was able to select 4 Oolongs so far, more are coming, and I'm going to taste one of them, the Alishan ShiZhuo. That is an Alishan that I don't often have, but this year I liked it very much. Let me take it out and put it on my little plate, and we are going to taste it during this little class in my Gaiwan, like we always do for new teas that we want to study and discover. Nice smell. ShiZhuo, that means rock table, and it's one of the villages that is quite close to the national park. It's closer than Jiangsu or Zhuifeng. The Jiangsu harvest that I selected was made on April 26th, and this ShiZhuo and the Zhuifeng harvest were made on May the 1st. And then I have another harvest of Shanlinxi so far on May the 10th. And today, a little bit later on, I'm going to add Fushoshan from May 17th. But so far, no Jinchuan. You might find this quite special, quite unusual that Jinchuan has not appeared this year. And this has to do with this year's really extreme weather conditions. Now, last year, maybe I don't know if you remember, in the fall-winter season, we had a lot of rain, and this was too much rain, and therefore I did not pick any teas in the fall-winter season. But after this very rainy season, all of a sudden it almost completely stopped to rain in Taiwan, and it was dry and cool for a long time, with very little precipitations. And then in end of March, early April, it was quite warm. Unusually warm for the season, and this was the time where the Jinchuan was supposed to be harvested. However, it had been very cold for a long time and very dry, and then suddenly very hot, so that during the harvest season the leaves did not have enough water to grow, and it was so hot that the few leaves that were able to grow, they did not have any freshness remaining, and the few leaves that were harvested were turned into red tea, fully oxidized tea, and very little fresh Jinchuan was made this spring in the first harvest. Now in this week, this is the second spring harvest, and some Alishan Jinchuan has been made. I'm still trying to find a good one, and if I do find one, I will add it to my selection. But so far, because of this extreme dryness and a sudden burst of heat, it was not possible to make Jinchuan. Then the Qingxin Oolongs, they come usually 2-3 weeks after Jinchuan, and luckily for the farmers, this time the weather changed again. It started to rain a little bit more, and it started to be cool. So this is also interesting that we have the rain also bringing some coolness in the air, and this is especially true in the high mountains. Each time I go there, I'm very surprised by the regular pattern of the weather in the high mountains, because in the morning usually it's bright, beautiful sunshine, and when you arrive around noon, all of a sudden the clouds start to be more and more numerous, and fog also starts to appear from one cliff of the mountain, and bringing a lot of moisture in the air with these fogs of these clouds that gather in the afternoon. So this shows that while very often we say, oh, we absolutely don't want to harvest on a rainy day, however, because this excess moisture means more process to dry the leaves. Now remember, when you want to make tea and turn a living leaf into something like this, basically what you need is to dry it a lot. This is here there's very little moisture left in these leaves. So if these leaves were full of had lots of rain on them, this would mean additional work to turn them in this state of dryness, and more work, more process usually is not so good for the quality of the tea, and therefore we know it's not good to pick tea on a rainy day. This should be avoided. However, rain is not necessarily something bad. Actually, it's necessary also for quality, because we saw when it's too dry, it becomes too hot in the spring season. So some rain in the spring season not only helps the leaves to grow, but also helps to keep them fresh, especially in the afternoon and in the evening. So it's nice that we have this climate pattern where it's sunny in the morning for the leaves to grow, and then rainy and cool in the afternoon for them to get more rain to feed, and also a coolness to preserve the freshness that we like so much in high mountain oolongs. So we were more lucky in the second part of the season when Qingxin Oolong was harvested. However, lots of leaves were very dried from this early dry weather, and you will find a little bit more dry leaves, sometimes can be called huangpian, that are a bit more yellow leaves in your oolong packs this year because of the extreme dry weather in this year. The dry weather also caused the volumes to go down. This means that the farmers had less leaves to process. The good thing for us is that then they paid more attention to their leaves, because there were fewer leaves to process, and especially these leaves needed more care because of the extreme weather that they were subjected to. And in the end, I'm very pleased by the quality of the high mountain oolong that we got in the end. You barely can realize how unusual a year it was this year in the spring. So we can really give thanks to the masters who have processed these leaves that I selected, and we are also lucky that despite the fact that the volumes were reduced because of the dryness, the prices were kept the same. So I'm passing on this good news to you, and I almost actually on some instances even reduced the prices a little bit, so you can really check this out. Like last year, the Qingxin Oolong starts at $35 for 150 grams in Juefeng, and so far it goes to $50 for 150 grams in Shalinxi. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, a strong pour to let the leaves dance, turn and unfurl. Okay, let's close it now. The water was completely boiling, that's why I let it rest a few seconds, otherwise it would come out too much to rushing. See if the picture is still okay. And so the Alishan ShiZhuo, what is special about this place is comes actually in the name. It's the name tells us what is special. Rock table actually means this is a village that is really on a very rocky ground, and you can feel this in the taste of this high mountain oolong. It has more minerality than other places like Zhuifeng or Jiangsuhu, and therefore it will have a bit more dryness, but also more power in the taste and aftertaste. You can see a nice bright light green yellow color for the brew. Good transparency. It shines. Where you want to empty the last drop of it. A nice flower smell. You can see the leaves have opened up and taken all the space in the gaiwan. This is what you want to achieve. That's why it's necessary to wait long enough for the first brew. Then we keep the lid on, because the hotter the leaves, the more flavor they release. So we want to keep them as hot as possible. And let me show you how beautiful it looks like. Cheers. Yeah, wonderful freshness, wonderful fragrances of very light flowers, and a bit of buttery feeling, and this rock taste that adds more structure and more aftertaste to it. It's really a great tea, and everything what we love in high mountain oolongs from Taiwan, especially this naturally sweet, soft note is really very nice. So despite really very extreme weather, extreme dryness, we were saved by a late change of weather, bringing more rain and cooler temperatures, and the farmers, they really had lots of challenges, because in order to let the leaves grow, those who have irrigation, so who have artificial water, they would water their plantation. But when you water it mechanically, the water is not evenly distributed. So some plants, some trees would get more water than others, and therefore the leaves would grow faster and stronger on these tea trees than on other places in the plantation. So the challenge for the farmers was, on the same field, on the same plantation, the leaves were not growing evenly. Some places they were fully grown, other places they were still very little. So they had really trouble to make a consistent harvest. Sometimes this meant coming back several times over several days to the same field to grow the leaves at the right point of maturity. And then in the process also it meant a lot of work, a lot of care. So this is really, again, one of these years where small family farms with a very skilled labor force will do much better than the large farms who use standard operating procedures and don't really pay attention to the leaves that they are making. But you don't find these so much in the high mountains. This is more something that you find in the lower elevation. So that's roughly all I wanted to share with you. Before we recess in the summer, I wanted to make another class about teacups. So we will do this over several weeks. So join me next week if you are interested in a series of classes about teacups, about the material, about the glazing, about the firing, about the shapes, about the history, and about how to pair the teacup with your tea. If you are interested, then you can join these classes. They are free and they are for you, so that you enjoy your tea even more. Give me a thumbs up if you have enjoyed this class, and give me a comment if you don't, if you find that I'm saying something wrong, or if you have any suggestion for some other material. And thank you very much again, and we will see you next week. Bye bye.